Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. After nearly 10 years together, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom have reportedly called it quits on their relationship. This comes after months of speculation and rumors, and now we finally have some insider details about what really went down. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're diving deep into this story. So here's what we know. According to sources speaking to Us Weekly, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom have officially split after 9 years of their on and off relationship. Now, before we get into the details, let me give you some context here. These two have been through a lot together. They first got together in 2016, briefly split in 2017, got back together, got engaged in 2019, and have a 4-year-old daughter named Daisy Dove together. The source is calling this split amicable and says it's not contentious so far, which is honestly a relief given how messy celebrity breakups can get. But what's really interesting is what the insider said about Katy's reaction. Apparently, while she's of course upset, she's also relieved to not have to go through another divorce, as that was the worst time in her life. Remember, Katy was previously married to Russell Brand, and that divorce was apparently pretty brutal for her. Now let's talk about what actually caused this split, because it didn't happen overnight. The source described it as a long time coming and said their relationship has been tense for months. And honestly, when you look at everything that's been happening in Katy's career lately, it kind of makes sense. First off, her latest album, 143, was basically a commercial and critical disaster. It came out in September 2024, and fans and critics absolutely tore it apart, with some saying it sounded like it was generated through AI. That's harsh, but that's the reality of what happened. According to sources, Katy was deeply frustrated by the reception, and it made her very stressed. Then there's her world tour, which has also been getting mixed to negative reviews. The stress from both the album flopping and the tour struggles apparently put a lot of strain on their relationship. One source said Orlando was understanding, but it did cause some tension. But here's where it gets really interesting, Katy's space trip. Yes, you heard that right. Katy went to space with Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin earlier this year, and apparently Orlando was not happy about it. Sources say he thought the whole thing was cringeworthy and that it would bring more negative attention. And honestly, he might have been right because she did get a lot of backlash for that. What's really telling is that they've apparently been living separately for months now. Katy's been on her Lifetime's world tour, currently in Australia, and Orlando's been doing his own thing. In fact, there's been a lot of speculation because Orlando is set to attend Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding in Italy alone. Meanwhile, Katy will be in Australia, continuing her tour. And here's something that really raised eyebrows. They're renting out their $30 million mansion in Montecito, California to Chris Pratt and Katherine Schwarzenegger. Now, this is significant because Katy fought tooth and nail to get this property. She literally took a veteran to court over it and spent tons on legal fees. The plan was supposedly for this to be their family home where they'd raise Daisy together. But now they're renting it out, which definitely suggests they're not planning to live there as a family unit anymore. The source says they've always lived in their other Montecito home as their primary residence, but the fact that they're not keeping this mansion for their family definitely sends a message. Let's take a step back and look at their relationship history, because this isn't the first time they've had major issues. Katy and Orlando first got together in 2016 after meeting at a Golden Globes after-party. They had this instant chemistry. Witnesses said they had a total dance-off at the party, which honestly sounds very them. Their relationship has always been pretty unconventional. Remember when they went paddleboarding in Italy and Orlando was completely naked? Yeah, that made headlines worldwide. They've always been this quirky couple that did things differently. But they also split before, in early 2017, after about a year of dating. At the time, they said they were taking respectful, loving space. But then they got back together in 2018, got engaged on Valentine's Day 2019, and welcomed Daisy in August 2020. Throughout their relationship, they've been pretty open about going to couples therapy and working on their issues. Katy has talked about how they've had to really work at their relationship and that it hasn't always been easy. But the fact that they've been through this pattern before breaking up and getting back together makes you wonder if this is really the end or if they might reconcile again. Right now, it sounds like they're both trying to handle this as maturely as possible, especially for their daughter Daisy's sake. The source says Katy is staying distracted with her tour and focusing on caring for Daisy. In fact, Daisy has been spotted with Katy during her tour in Australia, which suggests Katy has primary custody right now while Orlando is doing his own projects. Orlando also has a 13-year-old son, Flynn, with his ex-wife Miranda Kerr, so he's experienced with co-parenting after a breakup. The fact that sources are describing this split as amicable suggests they're trying to keep things civil for the kids' sake. What's interesting is that neither Katy nor Orlando have officially confirmed this split yet. Their representatives haven't responded to requests for comment, which is pretty standard when celebrities are trying to figure out how to handle these announcements. But the writing has been on the wall for a while. Orlando has been making solo public appearances, including at the Tribeca Film Festival and some cruise ship launch event with Drew Barrymore. Meanwhile, Katy's been focusing entirely on her tour and her daughter. Breakups are never easy, especially when you have a child together and have been in the public eye for so long. But it sounds like Katy and Orlando are trying to handle this with as much grace as possible. The fact that it's described as amicable and that Katy feels relieved to avoid another messy divorce situation suggests they're both being mature about this. Whether this is truly the end or just another break in their on and off pattern remains to be seen. They've surprised us before by getting back together, but right now it seems like they're both focusing on their own careers and co-parenting Daisy. What do you think about this split? Are you surprised or did you see this coming? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on all the latest celebrity news, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.